Kendrick is the lawyer
for representative of the Church of Scientology. And so he is the one pushing all the protesters, any protesters, to get illegally either swatted. He's the one who's bringing them to court, whether it's a fake felony, a fake just hate crimes, all of intimidation. And no, this is worse than intimidation. This is why I'm physically coming here. So I've been dating this guy, Scott Hochstetter. So they can't go at me because they know if I could do anything to get into the court physically for myself, to get my father, to get my mom out, to get my sister, to get any of the parents that I grew up, their families that they can't even speak about because they don't want to be disconnected from their. So they now have Scott Hochstetter in 6 felony hate crime for taking a Christmas wreath down by accident. I think he moved it and then a Christmas ball fell and it broke. So they're like hate crime. He moved some signs that that Scientology had held that say LAPD, Los Angeles Department of City, they'll say City of Los Angeles, and their street barricades, and they keep them. And every time they have a random event on L. Ron Hubbard, whether it's permitted or not, we never get to know. We can't see when we go to look up, where's the permit? Where's the permit? They don't show it to us. They have Kendrick Moxon. Then when we have a protester saying, where's the permit, right? Where's your guys' authority to close the sidewalk so that everything is completely violated the moment Scientology has their event. Let me tell you, I as a child born and raised in this, I literally used to set up these events in Clearwater. I was born in this internal organization. So I know the methods that they're doing. I worked shredding as a minor, 14, shredding documents under Kendrick Moxon, who's now still, this is why this is full circle, who was literally a part of fraudulent, basically signing off federal paperwork, later saying, oh, I didn't know it was fraud. Bullshit. I was in the C organization. I knew what we were doing. So I didn't know as a 14-year-old the documents I was shredding, but these were cases that people were murdered or neglected. They just were. Lisa McPherson literally was neglected and was made to rot and wait in a room. Kendrick Moxon knew all about it. He was one of the lawyers, one of the assistant representatives on the case. There was so many bad things that went with that case. So there's if you look up Operation Snow White, you can even take note of this. It's called Operation Snow White, and this was literally a full-on infiltration that Scientology did to take over and overthrow the government so that they could get their tax exempt status. Just look it up. It's literally not a conspiracy. Kendrick Moxon is a part of all that. Kendrick Moxon was in the Guardian's office before all of that, when they took over from L. Ron Hubbard, when David Mescott. So Kendrick Moxon, this lawyer who is now putting one of my dear friends, somebody that I literally care about and has been doing so much to get my dad out, to stop all the child abuse and the elderly abuse, all of that. To expose to the LAPD, to show people this is what's happening and nothing's being done. The only thing's happening is they're getting their permits, which when they do these events, they are recruiting families that are from other countries that come in. They say, oh, you can come back in on an R1 visa, and then you can be a part of our church. And when you're a part of our church, you have every reason, you have free citizenship here. As part of our religion, in America, you get that status. So then they use that recruitment to child traffic, to bring in other families from other countries, thinking that they're going to have a dream in America. And then they're eventually recruited into the C organization because they're monitored with cameras everywhere they go. They're told what they can and can't say. They're not allowed to report crimes to the outside authorities. They're not allowed to report reports how they are to the LAPD direct. The East Division in Hollywood is in cahoots with Scientology. When somebody is called from the Blue Building or from East Department, they call the LAPD. There were kids trying to escape, not even 6 months ago, 2 young teenage daughters from one of these big honcho Scientology donators where they closed off the streets and they had all these other, you know, other culture, not even, it was just from other countries that they were promoting, oh, all these countries can be here. And they closed off the whole street, and we asked for permits with Easter. We said, why are they allowed to close up? They don't believe it. They disrespect other religions. They got their status, again, Operation Snow White, they got their status because they infiltrated. The IRS only gave them status because they could not stand the amount of money and bullying that individual lawsuits of every Scientologist, which could have been one of mine. They could have put my name in Social Security. Kendrick Moxon was a part of putting all those. So here he is now attacking with the law. Again, 40 years later, he has literally covered up murders. His own daughter killed herself in this cult. And he just audits it away. Nothing happened. And now attacks people trying to expose what really happened.
Is his name spelled?
Kendrick Moxon, M-O-X-O-N. Yep. And this is, and Scott Hofstetter is the one is the victim, is the honorable protester who is literally being charged 6 felonies for the dumbest shit. Look up the cases. You're gonna be like, oh, it's a Christmas wreath. They don't believe in Christmas. In fact, he was adjusting a ball wreath, and the wreath was so loose it fell down.
They're saying it's a hate crime.
And it's a hate crime for what? You don't even believe in it's really just, he's a big lawyer. He's one of the lawyers. I wouldn't say he only does Scientology, and he is made to harass people like Scott Hofstetter with the 6 felonies, which these felonies have already been a year ago brought to court. He was in jail for 6 days. Went to the DA's office, they rejected it. So what happens? He just keeps getting arrested, goes to jail for 6 days because he was over the weekend. They do this though. They did it on Easter. They do it when they can get people. So this I'm just upset about right now because it's active. My father, I want to get a wellness check. I want a physical wellness check on my father, Philip Roy Anderson. I want a physical, mental, financial, and health. On all of those. Sleep deprivation. How much does he work?
Is he in the RPF? They have a prison system.
They have a prison. They have their own prison camps. They do not report any of this to the outside. They handle internally. In fact, if it even gets to the outside, it's the person's fault who reported it. They get in trouble. So if I get raped and I go to report it, which happened, look at Danny Masterson. He raped fucking multiple Scientologists that were involved and some not, and he only got convicted for 2 of them, right? So Scientology knew all about Danny Masterson. So we're not allowing this anymore. I'm not allowing protesters to let the city be the laws, you guys, it's an embarrassment. And not only that, that's more than an embarrassment. It's showing that Scientology is able as a gang to be able to come in and infiltrate the city and even down to protesters there on a daily basis because they won't need them to get them to stop exposing their crimes. All the way down to child trafficking, child abuse, the forced labors, everything we did, signing billion-year contracts. I literally, as a child, signed a billion-year contract, worked 13 to 14-hour days. I wasn't allowed to go to sleep unless certain targets were made and met. All the whole childhood was in the internal C organization. So it's not just me. This is happening in Los Angeles. I was literally born on Wilcox and Selma in 1986. This is Hollywood's problem. This is Los Angeles' problem. And so if we can work on getting the elderly of children that are yelling and screaming about their parents being in this and that they don't have their own mind thought, my father, if he did, would have stopped and held my hand and said, come and talk to me. He can't. He literally had to avoid me. That was heart-wrenching. And the LAPD lied to me because they are being paid privately because they get hired for these events. Every time they have a private event, they lied to me and said they have a permit, the sidewalk's closed. That was false. Okay, whether the police were lied to by a fake permit that Kendrick Moxon and Jennifer and Kirsten Peterson, who's always in cahoots with LAPD Direct, making sure. That's how they lied. I could have walked with my dad. Why not? I could have fixed our relationship by being able to walk with him and say, this isn't okay, Dad. So it's not okay. I want a wellness check on him. I want him to know. I want people to see that he really feels he's not allowed to talk to me. And that is mentally not okay.
I just.
How you feel? So
He disappeared, no one knows where he is.
now I don't know where he is.
They removed him because of the protesting, that she can't even at least have over getting a glimpse of him, but it looks like they moved him, and this Kendrick Moxon, he's a lawyer in Burbank.
Kendrick Moxon is doing this, and he needs to be, he's already had a lot of violations against his, like a lot of people have reported in the bar. He's been, he's under investigation, but he also has had multiple judges really say, like, you've been leading witnesses. There was a case that he did, that we lost. I mean, that we won, that he lost, that he was representing and saying that, whatever, hate crime, harassment, whatever. And the judge at the end wrote a 7-page thing of how Moxon was clearly steering the witness. The witness doesn't even know how to, like, anyway, so it's very exhausting. We spent the time to come here to do this. It's so much bigger than what I'm even telling you. And I don't know how you're gonna try to transcribe this over to Hugo and whatever, but I would actually, it's not just about this. These are these are big issues to me, but these are little issues to the city, of course, but they're very important. It's allowing the whole situation to happen. When they close down L. Ron Hubbard Way without permits and approval, and then tell people in the neighborhood, I live in the neighborhood. I moved there for a reason. I want to see my back. I want to expose what the fuck I was doing at 8 years old. It isn't okay. So why can't I do that? Why can't I put a beautiful art show for the whole neighborhood on that street? Because it's owned by L. Ron Hubbard. So L. Ron Hubbard Way, like, that's all gang tactics. They're doing everything to infiltrate and take over so that people like Scott Hochstetter, people like everybody who goes to protest in any form feel feared that they're gonna possibly get thrown fucking random felony charges on their ass because of Scientology. That's all there is to it.
Public street. Not private. And
We're not there even attacking Scientology. I don't like it. Maybe I'm attacking it, okay? But a lot of the people are there are saying, let the parents stop abusing the elderly. Let them have proper medical health care, because they are against psychiatry. They think psychiatry is their enemy. So they don't let people go and get, that's why I say get a mental wellness check on him. Phil Roy Anderson.
And if
Philip
they go into
Roy
ADA
Anderson.
violations too, because they believe we're a degraded being.
Yeah, yeah. And they're above the law. That's why they're above, that's their idea. They're like, like you.
Just to clarify,
Yeah.
so your father, you think he's at the
Blue Building. He was last there 7-8 months ago,
We don't know where
working at the cafe. And because I think that he saw me and I was protesting, that was really bad. I think they didn't know that and that was an accident on there. Like they're normally monitoring people really well. So that was a big issue. And so, for me to have seen him and that whole thing to have happened, and for me to not have been able to talk to him because of the LAPD covering up the fucking permits and being really hard with the people that are there, saying, give us the permit. If they are allowed to do this, then fine.
No,
But if they're not, then why are you allowing them to do it? You can't close off sidewalks. Yeah, every time they've either had false permits, the sidewalks are closed or one side's closed off. No, it's a public street. And then they're getting multiple permits. They get 6-7 permits every 3 months. How is that possible? Not even any quote religion does that to any street right outside their church.
And not to cut in real quick, but on that is, I forget her name, is with a K. Whatever. Because what happened is that BSS, Street Services, said that they keep giving them the permits because they're not getting any pushback or feedback from Hugo's office. So if,
But they're not out there. They're not,
But
they don't
Hugo would
see,
just
they just
say,
see what the
hey.
PR version of Scientology is saying. Oh, thank you, Hugo. Here's a basket from the Church of Scientology, or whatever the fuck he's getting, where they feel that it's like not a big issue. That is what they do. They safe point people. They make them feel like it's not too bad. Oh, remember me? I'm Jennifer. Remember me? I'm Kirsten Catano. I'm so amazing and happy. Look at us. We're church officials. You're fucking criminal, evil, lying. They lie to themselves. They have to. It's part of Scientology. But anyways, I didn't want to get like totally emotional. I just wanted to put it on the plate, on the sort of, you can remind Hugo, he might have remembered me about a year ago. I went to the Hollywood neighborhood meeting, and I met him at the end, and I just was like really like, it was like we'd just been being attacked so much with the protesting and all that, that it was hard for me to say everything. But I did meet him, and I told it, and he had told me like, oh, this is the first time I've heard about the protesters or that Scientology. Why is Scientology not allowing, if there's like not, if there's needed room for homeless people and all this, why don't they let them use their empty parking lots? Why don't you put street meters on L. Ron Hubbard Way? Why is L. Ron Hubbard Way, and all the other streets around have meters, but L. Ron Hubbard Way does not?
It's privatized, and it's not.
No, it's not.
That is Bayshore.
They just this is literally, like I said, the tactics that they use to pretend that they actually own that area, and they don't. That is gang. That's a gang mentality.
The city
that
can't
they
prove
think
that
they-
there's no parking either.
It's not. There's not.
The city has not been able to prove it. They really need to get to the bottom of it.
So yeah, that's just the main thing, the permits and all that, but I do want I want a wellness check, not only on my father for sure, but a psychologist, because they don't believe in that, so they won't allow a psychologist to come there.
They had people with the help, they wrote help on the window, and the police were called, and they were told the police, oh, it's nothing, don't worry about it, and the cops turned around and left. And it was
They
clearly
listened
help.
they literally told, even at the fire meeting, when one of the protesters went and asked the chief police officer, why is it okay that they have the barricades up? Like you
No
need to
fire
be
lane.
able to, there's no fire lane. And one of the responses, because he was sick of this protester coming to keep saying, how are you letting them get away with this? Open up the road. And he said, it's okay, I have a direct number to the security guard. That was the response of the chief of one of the fire representatives of 35, the fire station. That's what they said. Eventually, it's fine, I have a direct number to the security.
And they can like move cars or barricades.
That is how cults and gangs get away with this stuff. I have the number to the boss. It's fine. What fucking boss? You don't own this.
Can I get your?
Yes.
I have your.
Taxes and everything, but I don't think that's more of a federal thing. But I'm just saying, they're using up they use up the fire, they use up all things. They falsely swap people that are protesting, saying they have firearms and all this shit at gunpoint, literally. Like, they've had 7 SWAT calls on Scott Hutchsetter at gunpoint. Helicopters flying around, and he's on the ground, like, because they lie and say this shit about him. But Scientology doesn't get, why don't they do who did that call? Who made those calls? Why are they not investigating that? Because they're afraid to dig into anything that Scientology might do, because they will get attacked.
Well, even Kendrick Knoxon was accused of possibly killing a judge's dog. So
There's a lot that you can read. There's a book called The Expert Witness by Jesse Prince. He was a high-ranking member right next to David Miscavige, and he talks about all of that. If you look up Operation Snow White on YouTube, just type in Operation Snow White Scientology, you're gonna go down, you're gonna see exactly how they infiltrated.
Carla, that's it. Would somebody at least at Carla or Emma's level, like contact her directly?
Especially for my dad.
Should that be Carla and Emma? Because it's the blue building and not NIE's, because that's central, but it's East Hollywood. That would be Carla, right? Or Emma. And they are good. I mean, they've been they know. See, I've been like, Hugo doesn't know now, but I've been a year now.
My trigger instinct just went in when we were like, oh, notify, like, be aware that fair gaming is everybody where they need them. So there could be somebody in your office that is specifically being quiet, but allowing certain permits to go through. That needs to be investigated. It needs to be looked like, who is allowing this? Who, I think I've said a lot, but like, I guess the permits, my father.
The other
I
seniors.
need to fucking see my father. It's unbelievable that I'm 39 years old and the last conversation I had with him was 7 years ago, because I chose to not deal or do the thing that they.
Well, plus they don't, no one's seen, even when we asked, like, have you seen him? But everyone has said,
Yes.
no, like,
Or
quietly,
they
no.
know,
But-
the internal member, like, oh yeah, they all know who Phil Anderson
But they haven't seen them.
They're like,
That's
"Oh,
the
yeah, he
point.
used to work at the cafe."
Used to.
And this is just random nice protesters that are happening, they call it they audit. They're literally doing audits. So they're just saying, hey, you know, we're just trying to see if you've seen Phil Anderson. And some of them are like, oh yeah, I haven't seen him, but if I see him, I'll let him know.
But that's what I mean, like, so he
These are
seems missing.
full-timers that- He's not the only one getting abused. There are so many people that need, there needs, somebody needs to be literally on a small 48-hour, 72-hour mission from the office, from your office, that just goes and monitors this and just sees, I want to speak to this person right now. I have every right as a psychologist, whoever it is, to go in as a elder duty.
Senior, on the
Get
senior.
uniform, get the ones that are in uniform, and you'll see you can't even have a normal conversation with them without them getting stared into it. Literally, even if you're just asking.
And there's
how much
hundreds
do
of
you
seniors
get?
in there, in that building, that, I have other people asking me, you try to get help, because they said they have no windows, they have no,
I've had nurses that I've worked with, I'm a personal assistant, they said, oh my God, they know about my story, and they said, Lara, I went got a call, I went to the blue building, and they said, I can't really say anything because I have, and then I said, but how, she said, it was, they literally are like, I just felt like I couldn't even connect with the patient. And I was like, what patient? They're like, oh, their son looked like really old, and I was like, how, they have things, and they just get these nurses to do the things they can get on the side, but still keep them confined away from the public.
not in a hospital.
Not in a hospital where
nursing
they
home.
could literally live longer. Anyways, it's too much.
They need help.
It's a huge issue.
So we need
and nothing has been
your
done
boss
about
to
because
really get
kids
it.
like me have not grown up out of it to learn that it is so fucked up. What is going on?
I have an update on
And
Bill
then you're gonna
Dudek.
get away with these permits. It's like, no, you're not doing this anymore. You're not closing down our streets. We're taking our neighborhood back. Thank you. I live here. I was born in this fucking city. You can now take your cult and get out. They literally are so manipulated. They're money draining. They drain the city's attention, money, time, calling out fake things, having them, and then giving them fake awards and checks on the side. This is all safe for you. Look at how much money gets donated to Scientology, from Scientology to the LAPD.
Well, I have an email where, I guess they paid their fine for all the fines for these fake, the A non-compliant planters. And as soon as he thanked them for like, okay, we paid, now they dropped the case, because, oh, by the way, our church donated $100,000 to the firefighter, fund. And we gathered
And Kendra
75,000 more.
Kendra
That was
Moxon
Kendra
is
Moxon.
saying, yeah, no problem about the money. Let's keep the big ass planters that had no authority of being on the public sidewalk there for months. They had them there for months just to stop the protest.
But did that 175,000 donation have anything to do with the case being dropped?
Yeah, oh gee, I wonder. So, this is what I mean about giving little tips, doing something so another thing won't happen.
They've given over 400,000 to LAPD within a certain.
It's
number of
almost
years.
like, well, Scientology gives the city $500,000, $1 million a year. Why not just let them have their free permits and closures whenever they want? They're gonna pay us 20 grand each time
See,
they have
the
one.
protesters are starting to know their rights. Like, they prevented me from going through. I have every right now to go get a constitutional lawyer and sue the city. So
And this
you
has
are
happened so many times.
Huh,
And the
it's like-
police come, they finally, last time on Easter,
Finally
they
honored my
finally
rights.
said, actually, she has a right, open up.
But the fact
The
that.
moment they
Right.
left, another protester gets told, no, you can't be here, and then she goes, they close it off.
But the thing is, the city, because I'm not trying to get, I'll do it, but if people are going to start suing the city
Yeah.
because they know the rights and they know nothing's being done, and there's a pattern.
This is insane. He's literally been locked
And
up.
so that's why we're trying to get to Hugo. He doesn't want to hear
We're
me
already dropped a year ago. Now they're just being pulled up by Kendrick.
for using a megaphone.
Saying the state is pushing it. No, Kendrick, I saw you talking to the freaking assistant DA in the hallway.
Well, I have
I know what
CPRAs too.
you're doing. I'm at the cases.
Plus there's
He
a,
hates me. He hates that I'm there. He knows that I know about his daughter. He called me sir in the fucking Sea Org. He called me sir, yes, sir, when I
As a
was 15
child.
years old.
crazy.
Yeah, I was above him in rank. So he's being a little, it's just so insane that I'm like, you're not getting through this. You are not. Because I happen, whatever reason, the world, the universe puts me in a situation that I was raised in, there's a reason that I have the muscle to do this. I'm a singer, I'm a performer. So it's like I have to be able to be loud and speak about this. And I cannot believe it's taken me this long to do it. I just didn't have the tools or the people to go to. So I hope the in-person makes sense. I'm not even trying to be like dramatic, but I needed to do this in person. And there's way more to it, and I can break it down. Somebody can say, well, what do they do here? Who does this? Who do they get approved here? Oh, they have to get some city approval. So they can see where they're getting it. Who is the one approving it? Because there's always signatures, there has to be. There has to be.
We just really want your boss to really, he knows, and for a year I've been coming now. And I know he probably gets sick and tired of it, but we just need him not to be afraid of Scientology.
We'll help you do
Yeah,
something.
we will.
We'll help you. There's a lot of people that will help, that will make East Hollywood, that neighborhood, beautiful. We would love that. Scientology does shit. They literally have nice green grass that the dogs in the neighborhood can walk and shit on. That's probably the only thing they do for the city. That's it. And even then, it's like you're trespassing if you're
Well,
a
they
protester.
follow you. No, they follow everybody.
Yeah. What do
You know that.
And I believe that they lie about their property line. I don't believe that they own all the way up to the sidewalk. I think they own up to their building line, and that's it. But maybe the city can review that too.
Sure, yes, like I said, I don't want
Okay,
to.
it's a lot. Sorry, may I give you a hug? I did not mean to be so overwhelming.
It's finally getting out. 30, it's how many years?
They've got a strong heart. No, so you get it. Okay, and they can call me, email me, and I would be honored to have a meeting and a conversation with whoever I need, so they can really investigate why all this is happening. And then my dad.
Of course, yes.
That is very important.
Essentially, I think, yeah.
Yes, start.
And thank you, and just the whole, they have the permits and the R1 visa and allowing family, like all of this, it's more than just this. This is
So they're gonna
just what I'm
start,
starting
they have
with.
to start like, work your way
Thank
up.
you.
Thank you for listening, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.